This tattoo artist's story reads like a chapter out of a reality TV show. A TV show that may sound familiar, but it predates Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, on Netflix. Imagine a man standing with peroxide-blond hair, gold chains, and Zuba pants. He's covered in tattoos with a jacked physique from spending a lot of time in the gym. He has a personality that demands attention from across the street. This crazy figure is Roy Boy Cooper, a legendary tattoo artist from Gary, Indiana.
One thing, Roy Boy is back. Forever!
Cooper opened up the Badlands tattoo shop in the early 1980s. At the time, tattooing was still illegal in the state of Indiana. Because tattooing was illegal, Roy ran his shop the way he wanted. Picture this: a pool table next to tattoo chairs and a full gym in the basement. Even more unbelievable are two chain link cages that house two Bengal tigers. These tigers became part of his persona, a part of his image. But these tigers don't come into the picture until later on. Wait until you hear some of these crazy stories about the tigers. We'll get into that a little bit later. But for now, let's get into the history of Roy Boy Cooper. Roy's shop became so popular that celebrities, while on tour, would go out of their way to go to Roy Boy's shop just to get tattooed. He would see the likes of Lenny Kravitz, Greg Allman, Cher, and a slew of other celebrities. It became clear that Roy Boy was the king of his domain. Born November 19th, 1945, Roy Craig Cooper would have a rebellious spirit from an early age. At the age of 14, he would forge paperwork just so he could get a driver's license. After he gets the driver's license, he began driving dump trucks to make a little extra cash. By the age of 16, he had his own truck that he'd painted along the side, Roy Boy. Roy had zero interest in tattooing until he went to prison in 1971. You see, Roy would go to prison for knocking the teeth out of his foreman at the Bethlehem steel mill that he worked at. But jail changed him. Roy would get out of prison sober and driven. He dove into tattooing, got machines, started to practice, and began to hone his skill in the new craft that he wanted to learn. Now, rumor has it that he apprenticed under the legendary Cliff Raven. You can catch an episode that I did on Cliff Raven here. No one really knows the truth if he actually did apprentice under Cliff Raven, but what it did do was it started to perpetuate this persona that Roy wanted to put out to the world, make him larger than life. He would transform his life from a motorcycle club member into the owner of a thriving tattoo empire. Now, sometime while he was in prison, Roy would get divorced from his first wife, and after getting out of jail, he would marry his second wife, Jean Fitch. This marriage formed a creative partnership that would alter the fabric of the tattoo culture in the state of Indiana. Their shop, Roy Boy's Place, would be known for the wild antics and amazing art. Their shop would be tucked away in a city that was on decline. They would pick Gary, Indiana, on the advice of a lawyer because tattooing was illegal at the time. Their thought was that the police would have other things to worry about than an illegal tattoo shop that was opened in the city. It wound up being a great choice because their shop turned into the Wild Wild West. At this time, Cooper's fascination with exotic cats began to grow, and so did the rumors. There was rumors that would circulate around saying that he was breeding and selling tigers. While he denied it, these rumors would only fuel the reputation that it was growing. People around him at the time stated that they had never seen him sell or breed tigers. Now, Roy's collection of exotic cats started to grow, so he bought a farm. On this farm, he would have different tigers, jaguars, panthers, monkeys, snakes, and a slew of other exotic animals. Cooper's eccentric lifestyle didn't stop at tattoos and tigers, though. Roy would go ahead and teach himself photography. While Roy didn't have the highest level of education, he did have this ability to learn whatever he put his mind to. Later on, he would actually teach himself how to fly airplanes. Roy's photography became so good that he would actually sell his photos to biker magazines, nudie magazines, essentially opening a market for tattoo magazines. In all honesty, this is where I actually heard of Roy for the first time. When I was younger, I would buy biker magazines to check out the bikes and, the girls. You see, the girls in these magazines were scantily clad or semi-nude. As a young boy, it had all the pieces that I was looking for this giant puzzle. He became notorious for creating these videos that had tattooing, tigers, and a whole bunch of chaos. These videos would essentially showcase the wild heart of the tattoo culture during that time. Roy began pushing boundaries in every aspect of his life. He would then open up the Badlands on Broadway shop with Fitch. Broadway at the time was full of dilapidated buildings and empty storefronts. This new shop stuck out like a beacon. Fitch and Roy would actually break up not too long after opening up this shop. Gene is still tattooing and doing some amazing work at a tattoo shop called Personal Art Inc. in Indiana. You should definitely check out her pages and check out some of the amazing work that she's still doing till this day. A little later on, this girl walks in. Her name is Deb Cooper. She's 16 years old. She begins hanging out at the shop and eventually starts to apprentice for Roy Boy. A year later, she would wind up living with Roy and eventually would become known as the King and Queen of the Badlands. You can find various videos of Roy and Deb together all over the internet. I suggest you look them up. Some of them are pretty amazing, some of them are funny, but there's a lot of amazing artwork and interviews. These videos were complete chaos.
Damn it, aren't you done playing that thing yet?
Not yet.
Roy would also do photo shoots with Deb where she would pose with tigers and snakes while she was wearing a bikini. She was also in very good shape as she was committed to the gym just as much as Roy. These videos are highly collectible in some circles and sought out by many. Now, besides all the crazy antics and animals and whatnot, they would also do interviews of up-and-coming artists that wound up becoming legends later on. These interviews would vary from Paul Booth, Jonathan Shaw. It's a pretty big list of people that they got to interview back in the 80s and 90s. Their marriage lasted around 15 years, and during that time, they also had a son whose name was Cody. Unfortunately, Cody would pass away, and Deb is still tattooing at the shop he created. You can look up the tattoo shop online. Deb has also done some interviews about her time with Roy, and she also did an interview for the Soft White Underbelly, which is a big YouTube channel that does black and white videos. You should check it out. It's actually really good. Tattooing would become legal in the year of 1997 in the state of Indiana. And at that time, just like now, Roy was concerned that tattooing would lose that edge that it had, the edge that defined the art. His thought was that now it's legal in the state of Indiana, amongst other states, tattooing would become overpopular and saturated.
Without a doubt, MTV and VH1 television are one of the biggest influences on tattooing today. Not a rock video goes by without recognizing the fact that tattoos are in. Do you have a friend that has a tattoo? How about a brother, sister, mom or dad, or some grandparents? Well, did I touch on something there?
So what do you think about tattooing today? Same as I thought about it yesterday. It's a pretty good thing to do.
Is it getting big or what?
It's getting too fucking big. I mean, the yuppies are starting to get tattoos. There'll be no room for us. It'll probably be in pretty soon to be not tattooed.
Next doctor they'll be doing doctors will be doing tattoos pretty soon.
Oh, they already are.
Maybe he knew a little bit that we didn't at the time. Roy's health would decline after a crash that he had with a jet car, and it would leave him with a visible limp. That's right, a jet car. Like I said, Roy pushed the boundaries. Roy would also have a tiger bite that would make his injuries worse, and he began to self-medicate. His empire that he built would start to spiral out. In 2010, the USDA took away his tigers. His mental health really started to decline after that. Shortly after, Cooper would pass away. He would leave a legacy behind that would be talked about in tattoo shops and by animal lovers for years to come. Roy Cooper may have not been the Tiger King of Netflix fame, but his stories of rebellious lifestyle with tigers and tattoos and chaos still loom large till this day. Roy would leave a huge shadow on the tattoo culture. When you're Roy Boy, you don't just leave a mark, you leave a legacy. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more episodes, please make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. It'll notify you when we post our new episodes. And if you like this video here and want to see more right now, why don't you click this video here? Peace.